Welcome back to day 52 of online learning. Today is our last day of math lessons being posted. So I'm so happy and so thankful for you guys to be continuing to work so hard throughout this whole time of distance learning. I'm so impressed with your work ethic and how amazing you guys have been doing to making sure that you're watching the videos and also doing the have-tos to the very best top quality work that you can do. So today we're going over multi-step problems. So our multi-step problems, it's really important for us today to be focusing on what comes first and also focusing on what is this question asking me? What do I need to do first in order to solve for the answer? So I'm going to pull up our lesson goals and objectives for today's video. Our lesson goals and objectives for today's video are that I will be able to solve multi-step problems involving more than one operation. So that's either addition, subtraction, multiplication, and or division. And below is our standards of what we're going over today. What I have here is our story problem for our have-to from Monday. So what it says is, one day at the store, Dwayne buys 3 cases of water. A case has 24 bottles. His 4 sons share the water equally. How many bottles of water does each son get? So what I want you to do is take notes of this problem, because we're going to go over it right now. Take notes of this problem saying number of groups, number in each group, and the total number. That way it's really clear what you're trying to figure out and solve. So what it says is that Dwayne buys 3 cases of water. A case has 24 bottles. His 4 sons share the water equally. I know that keyword, equally. How many bottles of water does each son get? What I want you to do right now is think about, this is a multi-step problem. What information do I already know from this word problem that I can put down here, and where does this information go? Where can I sort it in my notes? Pause me and think about, how can I sort my notes right now? So I know that Dwayne buys 3 cases of water. A case has 24 bottles. So what I notice about this is that it's saying that if I bought 3 cases with 24 water bottles in each, how many am I going to have? So my total number would be 3 cases with 24 bottles in each. I need to figure out what my total is by figuring out if there's 3 cases with 24 bottles in each, how many water bottles do I have altogether? And then it says his 4 sons decide to share the water equally. So I know that the number of groups are the 4 sons. Each son is going to get the same amount of water. Then it says, how many bottles of water does each son get? So what I'm trying to figure out is the number in each group. Pause me and think about, what do I need to solve first in order to solve this story problem? First, I need to figure out my total number of water bottles. How many do I have? I can't start splitting them up into groups to give them to each of the sons if I don't even know how many I have in the first place. So pause me and think about an equation that I can use to figure out how many water bottles there are altogether in all 3 cases. What I would be doing is figuring out what 3 cases times 24 water bottles in each are to figure out the total number of water bottles. So my equation is 3 times 24. Take some time and try solving 3 times 24 by yourself now. Break apart 24, this 2-digit number, into numbers that are easier for me to solve. What I can do right now is I can make an array to represent the numbers that I have. So underneath I'm going to put 24, and over here I'm going to put 3. And I'm going to split 24 into tens and ones. How much is in my tens place and how much is in my ones place to make it super easy, since I know how to multiply by multiples of 10. So if I was to do that, I would have 20 over here and 4 right here, because I know that there's 20 plus 4 equals 24, or my total distance from that array. My equation over here would be 20 times 3, because I'm keeping 3 the same, and 4 times 3. So 20 times 3, since it's a multiple of 10, I can just focus on what 2 times 3 is, which is 6, and then add my 0, which is 60. And then 4 times 3 is 12. So what the equation that I just used, how I broke up 3 times 24, I broke it up by keeping 3 the same and then breaking up it into 20 times 3 and then keep 4 times 3. So I'm breaking up 20 and 4, which equals 24. So that would be 60 plus 12, and 60 plus 12 equals what? 60 plus 12, there's 6 tens and 1 10, so that would equal 72. Pause me and think about, am I done with this story problem? Can I say that the answer is 72 and walk away? I'm not done with the story problem yet, because all I did so far is I figured out that there's 72 total water bottles. But what I'm trying to figure out right now is the number in each group. So what I'd like you to do now is pause me and think about what is the next step that I need to take in order to solve for this equation. The next step that I need to take is I need to figure out if my total number of water bottles is 72, how can I break that equally with the 4 sons? Pause me and think about an equation that I can use to represent that. My equation would be 72 divided by 4 equals the number that's going to be in each group. All I'm trying to do right now is figure out, if I broke this up into 4 groups equally, how many am I going to have in each? Take some time and I want you to solve this by yourself now. What I have here is I know that 4 represents what? What does this 4 mean in this equation? 4 represents the number of groups. So I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, 4 groups that represents the son number 1, son number 2, son number 3, and son number 4. And what we've been talking about a lot during this unit is that by dealing out 72 into each group, it's really easy for me to lose count and not super easy for me to be able to figure this out. What I want you to do is think about what can I use to skip count and equally deal out before I get to 72. I need to make sure that I'm equally dealing out, but I don't want to do it one by one. What can I skip count with? What I can do is I can start thinking about this like multiplication. Since I know that 4 times the number in each group is going to equal 72, I can think about what can I multiply by 4 that's less than 72. So I know that I can do 4 times 10 because that equals 40. So I can do 10, 20, 30, 40. But I can't keep counting by tens because then I would get to 50, 60, 70, 80, and then I'd be too high. Now let's think about what else can I still, if I need to get from 40 to 72, what else can I multiply by 4 that's easy for me to skip count with? So I know that another thing that I can skip count with is 5. So I could do 4 times 5, which is equal to 20. 40 plus 20 is only equal to 60. Can I use 4 times 5? I can use 4 times 5 because still 40 plus 20 is equal to 60, so that's less than the 72 I have. So I'm going to do 5, 10, 15, 20. So far I have 60 that I've dealt out, but I need to get to 72. At this point, what I can do is I can just count by 1. So I know that if I have 60, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, now we can count together. So 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68. And notice how I'm still keeping it very organized I'm not just putting all these lines all over the place. I'm making sure it's organized, so I make sure I have all the same and I have the same in every group. So this was 68, 69, 70, 71, 72. So pause me and think about, what did I just do in order to break this down? What I did is I first did 4 times 10, because I know I can count by tens to get to 40. Then I did times 5 4 times. That way I got to 60. And then I dealt out 3 in each group. So then I did 4 times 3. So let's make sure that all of these added together, these equations, still equal the 72 water bottles that I need. So I had 4 times 10, which is 40, 4 times 5, which is equal to 20, and then 4 times 3, which is equal to 12. So 4 tens plus 2 tens plus 1 10 would equal 7 tens and 2 ones. So I have the same amount as my total here as here. So I'm checking my work to make sure I dealt out this right amount, even though I skip counted to make it easier. So pause me and think about, what is my answer now? So I see that in each group, I have 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, and every group has the same amount. So 72 divided by 4 is equal to 18. And it's important for me to label. Pause me and think about, what does 18 in this problem represent? 18 represents the number of water bottles each. Each son got 18 water bottles equally. So we dealt out 72 into the 4 groups, or the 4 sons, and they each got 18 water bottles. So for your have-to today, you're going to be getting more practice with multi-step problems. And what's really important when you're doing that is for you to read the question carefully to figure out, what is this question asking me? Is it asking me to add first? Is it asking me to divide first? Because here what we had to do is we had to first find the total in order to find the number in each group. So it's so important when you're doing your have-to today to be really focusing on, what is the question asking me and what steps do I need to take to solve it. I'm going to pull up your have-to, which is page 533 now, so we can take a look at it. Here's your have-to for today. It's page 533. It's more practice with multi-step problems. So the directions are to solve each problem and show your solution. So in all these problems, 1 through 5, they have multiple steps in order that you need to be solving in order to get the correct answer. So you need to be carefully reading about, what is this question asking me and what do I need to be solving first. So for number 1, it says there are 4 third grade classes. Each class has 24 students. The teacher wants to split all the students evenly into 3 groups. How many students will be in each group? What I would need to first do is figure out how many students are in 3rd grade. So I need to figure out, if there's 4 third grade classes and each class has 24 students, how many total students do I have in 3rd grade? Then I would need to figure out, how am I going to split these up evenly into 3 groups? Remember when we were doing division? Deal it out by skip counting, and you could think about it, and also think about it in a way of multiplication to make sure that you're getting the correct total. So take notes using number of groups, number in each group, and the total number. That way it's super organized. And let's take a look at your have-to for today. For your have-to today, you need to complete page 533. Practice from facts I'm working on division flashcards for 10 minutes, and then do 15 minutes of IXL only on the highlighted skills. The success criteria for today's video and have-to is that I can solve story problems with more than 1 step. I can do this by making sure to understand what the question is asking me and figuring out what step needs to be solved first. So make sure you're paying attention to that success criteria while you're completing your have-to for today. And in order to get a 3, you need to be able to say, I worked on all the problems on page 533, showed my work, practiced my basic facts, and did 15 minutes of IXL.